Well, good morning, yogis, on this cold, wintry, chilly day. Last week, we looked at the whole idea of impermanence, the idea that everything changes, whether it's your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations. And we're going to take that on a slightly different slant this week. We're going to look at the concept of will and surrender. And it's one of those concepts that we learn a lot about in Kripalu Yoga. We focus on that in our training. And the idea that there's really two types of practices. There's the willful practice, and that's a lot of what we do every week. And a willful practice is basically looking at the details of alignment. When I say to you, make sure that both your feet are flat on the floor, or to extend your left arm, or those kinds of things. It's technical details of the pose. So you're fully engaged in monitoring those details. What happens with surrender, particularly if we've been practicing where you're holding a pose for a while, and we're going to do this, and then you release the details of the pose and just focus on the sensations of what's happening in your body, whether it's physical sensations, whether you notice where your mind is going, wandering, whether your emotions have changed, your energy has changed. Just notice how going into the details and then letting go. And it's a lot of what we do in life too, isn't it? We may want to accomplish something, and we work very hard to make that happen. But it's also important to let go of the attachment to the result. Just because I did X, Y, and Z doesn't necessarily mean that things are going to play out exactly as I would like them to be. So the idea that we do the work and then release the attachment to the result. It's a very, very powerful practice. So we'll see if we can do that on the mat, and then hopefully transfer it to our day-to-day life off the mat. So let's find our center and come into the moment so we can be fully present to our practice. Maybe circling your shoulders a little bit if they're holding on to tension. Going in the other direction. And there's nothing like releasing tension. And the way we release tension is sometimes to create more tension. So I'm going to bring my shoulders towards my ears, create fists with my hands, tighten the muscles of my arms, clench my jaw, press my feet into the floor. Take in a breath, hold the breath, squeeze the belly, and then let it all go with a sigh. And that audible sigh is a very important cue to signal the body to relax. Turning all of your attention, all of your awareness to your body first. Noticing what you bring to your practice. Noticing the busyness of your thoughts and allowing those thoughts to rest in the flow of breath coming in and going out. And even there, we find the balance between will and surrender. Consciously drawing in the breath and then allowing the exhale to be a letting go, a surrender. And letting it be enough just to sit and breathe. Just a few more breaths here. And the next time you exhale, letting that breath go, bringing your hands to prayer position in front of your hearts. Connecting with that wisdom that lives deep in your heart. Let's begin our practice by chanting the sound of Om. Deep breath. Om.
Judi, you're muted. Judi, you're muted.
I'm trying to get Judi to unmute. Judi, you muted for some reason.
Can you hear me now, everybody? Raise your hands if you can. Okay. I apologize for that. I didn't realize I was muted. Great. So I'm going to bring my arms out from my shoulders, reach those fingertips away, feel the feet on the floor, extend and broaden across your shoulders and across your back. Inhale, turn those palms up. Exhale, float them down. Inhale, turning them up. And exhale down. And again, working with the breath and exaggerating the sound of the breath. That will help to hold your attention. Inhale up and exhale down. So I'm going to inhale and turn the palms up and then touch my fingertips to my shoulders. Good. And let's circle the elbows. So remember what direction you're going in, because in a minute we're going to switch it up. So noticing what's going on in the shoulders, any tension, any holding. Staying with your breath. And then go in the other direction. Great. So holding the elbows out to the side, let's take a breath in. And as you exhale, rotate your upper body to the right. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale to the left. Bring it back and to the right. And let's hold here just for a minute. So notice if your elbows are drifting forward, invite them back. Line up your chin with your chest. Feet on the floor. Paying attention to the details, the willful practice. Good. Bring it back to center. And on an exhale, rotate to the left. And same thing. Notice the details. Attention resting on each part of your body. And then bring that back to center. Take a breath in, and now let's bring the left elbow towards the right knee. And inhale, bring it up. Exhale forward. Inhale up. Exhale forward. And up. twist, bring it up, and back. So when you come up, you can actually draw your elbows back a little more, rounding your spine back, and then curling up. Noticing the increasing flexibility in your back. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. So I'm going to breathe in, and this time I'm going to bring my right elbow to my left knee and just pause. Good. Breathe in and exhale and hold to the other side. Always when you're holding a pose, noticing where your thoughts go. Stay with the body and stay with the breath. And let's inhale and bring it up. And then release the arms down. And as you release and surrender that pose, notice where you feel sensation. Good. So this cold weather is making me a little creaky and stiff, particularly in my hands. So we're going to do our arm and hand warm-ups. Begin by separating your fingers wide as you breathe in. And then exhale, curl the fingers into your palm. Inhale, open. And exhale, close. Never to the point of pain, never to the point of discomfort. Working with your own comfort range of motion, whatever that happens to be today. Opening wide, closing up. And one more time, open wide so you can spread those fingers a little further away from each other. Great. Placing your palms level with the floor and turning them out as you breathe in and in as you breathe out. So breathing in and out. So we're just gliding the wrists smoothly out to the side and into the center. Let's just do that a couple more times. Breathing in and breathing out. And then touching the tip of each finger to your thumb. Next week, we're going to be looking at some mudras. Mudras are hand movements that we use in yoga to help to move energy. So I had a request from a student that we could do some mudra work next week. And always know that if you would like to have me work on something in particular, just shoot me an email or pick up the phone and call me. I'd be happy to work it in. So again, let's go back and forth a few more times. And then wiggle your fingers, just your fingers. And then your hands and your wrists and your arms. Bring the shaking all the way up to your shoulders. You can shake your head. You can lean forward. Find something you can shake and shake it. I'm going to shake both my feet. And you can let out a sound. Ah, and then stop. Close your eyes. And as you surrender this, notice how you feel. Opening your eyes, we're going to move into another energy generating, warmth generating breath called the breath of joy. We're going to do it seated. So I want to make sure that my feet are a comfortable distance apart because I'm going to be folding forward. For those of you who need a review of this breath, it's 3 breaths in as you move your arms like you're conducting a symphony, and then an exhale brings you forward. So here we go. Breathe in, breathe in. Breathe in, and then let it go. Ha! Very important to let that sound go as you exhale, and let it go. Ha! Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Let it go. Ha! Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Let it go. Ha! Breathe in, breathe in. If you get tired, you can stop. You can speed it up a little bit if you want. You can slow it down. Ha! And this time when you sweep your arms up, let's come back into seated mountain, pressing up through your fingers, relaxing your shoulders, pressing into the feet, noticing the energy in your body. Let yourself feel everything there is to feel and experience. Just those simple movements. One more breath. And then with awareness, lowering your arms, let your palms rest on your thighs and take a breath. So let's salute the sun. I'm going to bring my hands back into prayer position. Always beginning by pressing the palms together lightly to activate the muscles in your arms. Great. Inhale, arms sweep up. On an exhale, reach it back. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Inhale, come up to mountain. And now we're going to fold forward. Arms drop down, head relaxes. Palms to the knees, breathe in halfway. Exhale and fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, reach back. Bring it back to mountain and back to your heart. And again, breathe in and out. Take the breath in willfully, surrender, let it go. Good. Palms to the knees, come up halfway. Exhale and fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhaling, reaching back. Taking the breath in one more time and exhaling back to the heart. Let's see if we could do one more of those. Inhale and exhale. Taking the breath in and just as mindfully letting it go. Head relaxes. Palms to the knees, flat back. Exhale and fold. Inhale, sweeping those arms up. Let's reach it back. Think about lengthening. Coming back to mountain and right back to the heart. Take a few breaths. And again, feel the echoes of the pose in your body, your mind, your energy. Great. Let's go for a walk. And I'm actually placing my feet pretty firmly on the floor as I drop them down. There's all these little acupressure points on the soles of your feet. So it may not be quite as good as getting a massage, but you're activating all of those points when you do this. I'm going to add my arms, just like I'm walking down the street. And I'm going to up the ante here a little bit by bringing one elbow towards the opposite knee as I exhale. And feel free to join me or just keep the arms quiet, whatever works for you. Here we go. So remember, it's the knee coming up to the elbow, not the other way around. Opening up the hips, opening up the spine, generating some energy. Great. So I'm going to pause here and bend the right knee. So you can use your yoga tie behind the thigh, or you can interlace your fingers below the knee and draw the knee towards your chest. Relax the shoulders and let's circle the ankle. Nice and slow. And going the other way. Let's take this into the figure 4 stretch. So whatever variation is going to work with you today, either crossing at the ankles, at the knee, or allowing the foot to rest on top of the thigh. Good. Find your seat. Gently press down on the knee, up on the foot. And you can add a little bit by leaning forward, only if that feels good. Relaxing the breath. Pay attention and then let go, surrender. The next time you breathe in, we'll bring the torso up. Now, leaving the foot wherever it is, we're going to come into a couple of twists. So I'm going to bring my left hand to my right knee and do a seated twist. Good. Breathe it back to center and then twist in the other direction. Just that little variation with the foot in a different position gives us a different experience of the twist. And bring it back. Uncross. And let's do all of that on the second side. So I'm going to walk a little further. Add my arms. Remember, you can always just stay with the walking. That's fine. So I'm going to add the elbows to knee. Here we go. And I always exhale the breath with a sound. So I think it's time for the left knee to come up and be prepared for a very different experience from side to side because our bodies are different. We're not symmetrical. Shoulders are relaxed as you're doing this, circling the ankle. Other way. Good. Going into the figure 4 stretch on this side. So paying attention to the details. Remember that willful part is the details. Making sure the foot is directly under the knee, gently pressing down on your left knee, up on the foot, reading the sensation in the hip, and adding to it if you like by leaning forward. Don't try to hold your head up. Let your head be relaxed. And on an inhale, up we come. And we'll go into a twist. So right hand comes to the left knee. We twist to the left. Breathe it back to center. Twist to the other side. Good. And breathe it back to center. Uncross. And take a minute to receive that pose completely. So we'll do some standing work now, and I'm going to come up to standing through chair pose. Moving my feet back, the heels lift slightly. Always knowing that when you begin to stand, the heels will drop down. Now, if for some reason you can't fully achieve lift off the chair, that's quite all right. Just focus on, you can place your hands at the side of the chair and just focus on engaging these core muscles in the front and back of your body. Feet are hip width apart. Take a breath in and exhale, stand part way. So there's a bend in the knees. reading the sensation. And if you want a stronger stretch, you can move your hands to the front or overhead and breathe. So we're going to hold here just a little longer. If you need to come out, feel free to come out. Great. Let's lower the hands, straighten the legs, close your eyes just for a moment, and notice how you feel. It's in the release of the pose that we really get the full experience. Great. So I'm going to come to the side of my chair. And the other option is if you feel more comfortable and more secure, you can always stand at the back of your chair and keep both hands on the chair for this series. Okay. I'm going to take a step pretty wide apart, making sure both of my knees are relaxed, and stretch out my left arm. If it feels safe, release your right arm. 5-pointed star. So pay attention to all the details here. Pressing into the soles of your feet, reaching one hand in either direction, and lengthening through your crown. Keep reminding yourself of those press points. Good. So let's bend the arms right at the elbows, palms facing the head, and come into a slightly deeper bend. If your knees are sensitive, you can keep your legs straight and just do the upper body part of this. We're going to get ready for triangle in a minute. Good. Inhale, press into your feet, and we'll set up for triangle. So I'm going to turn my right foot facing the chair. Left foot turns in slightly. So there's always a tendency for the hip to rotate towards the chair. And what we want to do is bring that hip back. So it's kind of, the body is going in lots of different directions at the same time. So actually place a hand on that hip and consciously draw it back. Great. Reach up with your left arm, create length in the side body, and let's move into triangle. So you might feel comfortable enough to release your right hand from the chair. Keep flattening the feet, keep drawing the shoulder and the hip back. Breathing into the side body. A lot of attention to detail. Good. Breathe that arm up and over. Drop it down. Counter stretch. Right arm reaches up and over. Good. So let's go into warrior two from here. So I'm going to stretch out my left arm and I'm going to stretch out my right arm, pretty much like we did for 5-pointed star. I'm going to create a bend in my right knee. Good. But I'm not leaning forward with my torso. I want to keep my center of gravity lined up. Turn and look towards the right and breathe. Paying attention to the breath, paying attention to sensation. Let's take one more breath here. Lower the arms, straighten that knee, step your feet together. We're going to stretch out the muscles in the front of the leg, the quad stretch. So I'm holding onto the chair with my right hand, and I'm going to bend my left knee. If you can manage, take a hold of your foot and draw the leg back. Should feel a nice deep stretch in the front part of your left leg. So drawing the thighs together and back. Good. Let's take one more breath here and then let it go. Now I realize that that quad stretch is a little challenging for some people to do, so there's a number of options. One is to sit on your chair with your hips sort of off to one side. You want to make sure you're not off balance though. And you can use your yoga tie here, holding onto the chair with one hand, looping the tie around your foot and then pulling it back. So we're getting the stretch across the front of the leg that way in a safe way. So if standing and doing that stretch bothers you, you can do it seated. Let's go to the other side. Separating your feet, comfortable distance, knees are soft, getting ready for 5-pointed star. Right arm and left arm. And I always like to imagine that I've got one friend holding this hand, another friend holding the other hand, and they're playing tug of war. Opening up those shoulders, opening up the front of the body. And breathing. Keeping your knees a little bit soft, keeping your feet grounded, getting ready for goddess pose. So bending at the elbows, palms face the head, and you come into a squat. And remember, if the squat doesn't feel right, you can just do the movements with your upper body. It's perfectly fine. Yoga is infinitely adaptable. One more breath here. Great. And release. Lower your hands. Let's get set up for triangle. So my left foot's going to face the chair. Right foot's going to turn in slightly. Remember to remind this hip, your right hip, to move back. You want to square the hips towards the front of the room. Good. Right arm reaches up. And over we go. Releasing the hand if that feels safe. I like to use this hand on the inside of this thigh just to kind of remind the hips to open. Nice steady breath. Good. Breathe it up. Drop that hand down. Move into your counter stretch. And let's prepare for warrior two. So the right arm will come back, left arm will come forward, and I'll create a little bit more of a bend in that left knee. Now remember, we're not leaning this way, we're just having that same energy going forward and going back. So you feel balanced. Stay with the breath. Good. One more breath here. And then let it go. Good. And get ready for our quad stretch on this side. So I'm just going to reach back and take a hold of my right foot and draw the heel towards my buttocks. So if I stand sideways, you can see that I'm not allowing this leg to come forward. I'm drawing it back, and that will give me a deeper stretch. Thighs together. Remember the option of using the side of the chair, either with or without your yoga tie. If you can manage to just grab the foot at this point, you can just draw the foot back. Just remember to feel secure. I'm going to stretch this leg out a little bit. Feels a little tight today. Take a deep breath in and then let that go. Notice how you feel. So let's take a seat. Nice standing work. Always tends to make us feel a little warmer. So usually we do the 6 movements of the spine in the beginning of the practice. And today I've moved it to the end of the practice so you can see how different it feels when you've had some other movements in front of it. So we'll begin with the dog and the cat, breathing into dog, head looks up, shoulders back. Exhaling, pushing your back towards the back of the chair, letting the breath go. Breathing in and opening the body. Excuse me. Exhale and closing. A couple more times here. Breathing in, opening wide. Exhale and closing. Feels very different when you do it later in the practice. Let's bring that back to center and prepare for our twist, starting with the right arm. Hand comes to the left knee, left hand to the chair. And reminding yourself to mindfully, to willfully connect with the breath, letting your spine get longer as you breathe in and gently turning as you breathe out. I'm going to cross my left leg over the right because my body likes this version of the twist. Inhale, bring it back. Take a breath and we'll go to the other side. Left arm stretches out, palm to the knee. Always staying deeply connected with the breath. Good. One more breath and then bring it back. Let's thread the needle starting with the right arm, sliding it along, easing yourself forward, easing the arm through, adding a sweep with the left arm if that feels like something you'd like to do. Just a suggestion. Breathing in, we guide it back. And go to the other side. Left arm stretches out, sliding it along, easing yourself in. Arm sweeps up. And bring it up. Take a breath. As I mentioned, next week we're going to be exploring a couple of mudras to use in practice and particularly during meditation. But the word mudra means symbol. And there's a pose that we do called yoga mudra, the symbol of yoga. And in the symbol of yoga, we're going to do it seated. You can do it seated or standing. I'm going to do it seated, and then maybe next week we'll do it standing if you feel comfortable. In this pose, the heart is superior to the head. It's a forward fold. And the reminder of that is that yoga is more about opening the heart than it is about opening the hips or the shoulders or any of those parts. So in order to do it, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see my hand positions. There's a couple of choices here. And again, just because it's a forward fold, be mindful of that. So if forward folds make you dizzy or lightheaded, just come a moderate way forward. So with Yoga Mudra, I sweep my arms around behind my back. I'm going to stand up so you can see what I'm doing. The fingers are interlaced and the palms squeezed together. So I'm really opening the front of my body and squeezing those shoulders. If your shoulders are really tight, grab a hold of your yoga tie and just hold it in opposite hands, a comfortable distance apart. You can still open the shoulders nicely using the yoga tie. So interlacing your fingers, squeezing the shoulders, or grabbing a hold of your yoga tie. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, begin to fold forward. Keep squeezing the shoulders. Now, if this feels comfortable, you can begin to lift your hands away from your lower back. It's a really deep stretch in the shoulders. If this doesn't work for you, just keep your hands at your lower back. Keep that squeeze in the shoulders as you come up. One little counter stretch here, and then release. Take a moment to feel the echoes of that pose. So let's just sit for a minute. I'm going to change my chair again. Just bringing our practice to close, our practice on the mat. I always like to qualify that because all of life is a practice off the mat. Watching the breath. And this is always an excellent time to just begin a little body scan, starting with the feet and the legs, and just letting your awareness rest lightly and without judgment on each part of your body. No need to change your breath in any way. Just let the breath flow. Letting your breath get a little bit bigger now. Maybe sighing it out. Maybe moving just a little bit. There's always your own practice here. No right way, no wrong way. It's just your way. Dancing your own dance. And then we'll bring our hands to prayer position and close our practice with an Om. 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 Shanti. Peace. May we all be happy. May we all be healthy. May we all be free from fear. And may we and all beings know peace. Namaste. Jai Bhagwan.